to go, GNCC Racing!
Welcome to the CST Tires Camp Coker Bullet Round 5 of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series. Jason Wygant here in Society Hill, South Carolina. Relatively new offering on the Grand National Cross Country calendar. We'll show you our last race with our AMSOIL race recap for the ATVs. In a driving rain, the Cole train. Cole Richardson gets out to the early lead on the Ampro Yamaha as Walker Fowler right behind him at the number 1, the Walker Fowler Racing Machine. Good battle in one of the first technical tracks of the season, all the ups and downs of Steel Creek in North Carolina. Now, once Fowler, the defending series champ, gets into the lead in these races, he's usually good to go. But look at this. Trouble on an uphill. That's going to slow up Richardson as well. They don't know where to go. And coming from behind, the third-place rider, Adam McGill, says, I'm not waiting. Look at this line. Almost straight up an embankment over some logs. He somehow finds traction, and Fowler and Richardson just watch him go into the number 1 spot and pull away. And with that, the door was open for McGill to grab his first win of the year. Look at Richardson and Fowler trying to get him at the line. Too little, too late. And a huge win. A thriller for McGill.
We had a bottleneck back there, like one of these ravines right after the finish, and they were all checked up in it. And there's a guy on a 250R there. I gave him a fist bump and I'm climbing the steepest, muddiest hill they got here. Hit it on this thing, barely got to the top. My CST tires pulled great, and when I got in the lead, I'm like, all right, I know I can maintain 20, 30 seconds because nobody was pulling in anybody. And I knew if I got off the other side, across the bridge, I knew that I don't think they could pass me. The only way they passed me, they stuffed me in one of these turns. I think Cole tried, but man, when you're on, you're on. I felt good, and I don't want to jinx me, but maybe we'll get one more here in 2 weeks.
Well, that would be right here in South Carolina. The results from that one, Rocky Mountain ATV MC bringing them to you. Richardson, Fowler, Neal, and Boric, usual suspects, rounding out the top 5 as we get ready for racing today. This has been a pretty dynamic season. Fowler is dominating last year, won the first 4 races, and kept going to win all but one of the 13-round series. A little bit different this year, though. We are underway. One rider stalling going into the first turn. Also different today's conditions as Fowler locks down that Wiseco hole shot award. Look at the dust. A lot different look from our last race. We were racing in the rain in North Carolina. Here in South Carolina, it's dusty, it's sandy, and it's Fowler leading the way over Richardson and Jared McClure. Looks like McGill in 4th. The dust probably calmed down a little bit, though, once they're into the woods and into the shade. Let's go back to the start for XC2. This is our young up-and-coming talent. The Pro-Am division as they transition from the amateur ranks to the pros. Wow, look at that huge bump. Now we can see our riders had problems in the XC1 class. Battling for it right now, Matt Lindell. He's going to sneak in, and Nicholas Royalty. I thought Lindell had it. Royalty grabs your whole shot from All Balls Racing, and the young kids are off and running in the woods of South Carolina.
The AMSOIL GNCC series on Racer TV is brought to you in part by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics, Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready, and Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
Back to the Camp Coker Bullet ATV racing in the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Series. Walker Fowler on the Yamaha leads the way. Richardson still 2nd, McClure still 3rd, so no change there. And no change for 4th. Still a relatively good start for McGill. And there's Bryson Neal, who rarely gets the good start, trying to slice his way forward. Now into the Monster Mile, the most difficult part of this racetrack. Fowler trying to weave his way through some tight virgin woods. It takes a lot of energy to be able to sling these quads side to side through here. And obviously you don't want to rush it. You tag a tree with the front tire, and all the good things you've done throughout the race are going to come undone. Renaissance run here in 2018 from Richardson. just to be a podium player again is spectacular considering nearly 2 lost seasons with injuries and illness for him. So he's a contender right now. I just saw McGill flash by. Here is Neal on the B. Neal Motorsports Yamaha. And it's already pretty spread out. Our pickup code comes through next. This is Josh Merritt, young rider out of Akron, Ohio, coming through the number 11. And then the Suzuki pair, you got Wolf and Boric, the young kid and the veteran and 6-time series champion running information. Richardson leading the charge here. That's second. Then you've got third place McClure and fourth place McGill, and they are really pushing to try to catch Fowler, and Neal is pushing to try to get to them. And this tight stuff, man, it is really hard to find the flow. Fowler has certainly put it together right now. Look at McClure on the JMR ATVRiders.com Honda. He is really rolling, and what I love about McClure, this was the guy who was known for getting stronger mid-season, and when the tracks were rougher and rockier and muddier up north, but he has proven quick on sand, both in Florida and again here. So his all-around game for McClure is picked up. McGill comes through next. Where is Richardson? There's Neal. Richardson to the back of their train. So that's going to make a big difference. Richardson was trying to run down Fowler. Fowler should have an even bigger lead. Next rider in the group, that's the number 4 of Boric on the Maxxis Ye Olde Cycle Barn Fly Racing Suzuki. And he is hustling right now. No one to pace himself off of. He's made the move on Wolf here. But not quite able to withstand Boric. Here comes the rest of the crew. Marty Christopherson riding well today. Also want to shout out to, there's Merritt. Devin Feehan, last year's Pro-Am champ, cutting his teeth in the Pro Class XC1 this year. Boy, Fowler is just on the gas today. What a response. After a spectacular season last year, as I mentioned at the top of the show, as he goes to the Monster Mile here, Fowler won all but one race in 2017, and the only race he didn't win, he finished second. Very easy to come in, maybe complacent, as he gets the sign from his mechanic, Mark Notman, exactly what way to go through that mud. But Fowler is always one to give credit to the competition. I don't know if it's modesty, I don't know if it's paranoia, but he's never one to talk too much trash, just a little something at the opener. But he has huge respect for the rest of the competition, so he's not going to come in here taking these guys lightly, and it's paid off as he pulls back away today. It looks like Jared McClure is solid in second, and third now is Neal. I'm going to say it like I do every week. I would love to see what Neal could do if he could get a whole shot. Here he is at number 2. He has had to do a lot of work and really hasn't seen much of Fowler today. Boric through next, so we originally had Cole Richardson running up front in second place. He is now out of this race. As we continue to watch Boric, where is Adam McGill, the winner of our last event? Landon Wolf coming through next. So problems for McGill, and that has been all too common the last 2-3 seasons. McGill continues to have speed, and that's obvious. He did win our last race, but not seeing consistency. Too many mechanical problems. As Wolf navigates the mud. Too many mechanical problems and crashes. Oh no! Wolf is stuck. I was wondering why Fowler's crew was so careful in what looked like a very routine section, but now you see why. They knew it's easy to get stuck, and Christopherson rolls by taking a long way around. Lesson learned for young Landon Wolf. And by the way, that's a 400-pound ATV that those mud fleas are throwing around like a toy. Nice line through the woods here. Wow. That's our XC2 leader, Hunter Hart. So he has caught the back end of the XC1 pack, and with riding like that, no surprise, Hart has been lighting it up this year in the XC2 division. He's your points leader, and he is rolling in the lead right now and just got around Wolf. Time running out on anyone to do anything with Fowler, who just continues to stretch it out. Still has to be careful, though, while negotiating this lap traffic. McClure has locked down a solid second-place run. And they're still cheering him as he rolls through the pit area. Then Neal comes through. This is certainly not easy. Through these sections, and this sand is only going to get harder and harder. Here comes Feehan. Best race we've seen from this young pro this year. Trying to work on a top 5. Finishes of 6 and 7 at the last 2 races. And you see the talent this kid has. Beautiful through that sandy section there. And some more young talent to watch. Wolf, who you saw get stuck in the mud a little bit earlier. Going pretty strong right now. Oh, but look at Hunter Hart. He has put himself on the map right on the TV show today by catching these XC1 riders. Although remember, he had gotten around Wolf. Wolf has repassed him, and Josh Merritt right behind. Lots of young talent, but they're all taking lessons from Walker Fowler today.
The AMSOIL GNCC series on Racer TV is brought to you in part by AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. Rocky Mountain ATV MC, get ready. And Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
Camp Coker here in South Carolina, the Camp Coker Bullet. Round 5 of the Grand National Cross Country Series. Walker Fowler putting on a riding clinic today. He is certainly motivated, and he's just so darn strong and in such great shape. He can push the pace on some very rough terrain. Woo! Although that was impressive right there from Jared McClure in second place. I mean, these machines are just bouncing all over the place. The lower back takes such a beating with the four-wheeled ATV, much more so than the bikes. You hear McClure yelling at the lap riders, telling them to get out of the way. So you might be winded, but you've still got to have enough in the lungs to give the warning that you're coming to the lappers. Ooh, and it's dusty enough, just dusty enough, even in these shaded sections in the woods, where it's hard to see when you're behind the traffic. Then it's Feehan, continuing to learn and building toward his first ever top 5 in the XC1 Pro class. And there he goes on that number 9. Back to the leader, Fowler. Woo! Burying the front bumper not once but twice on those huge whoops. Even the best in the game having a tough time negotiating it smoothly, but it doesn't matter because he's got the win, and in dominant fashion, he grabbed the lead early. He never looked back from hole shot to checkers. It was a good one.
I just, man, you know, I've been fired up. I've been getting hungrier and hungrier, and I just knew with the dust and this track, I remember from the first 2 years that a hole shot is so vital here, especially with this dusty sand. A lot like Florida, I've been spending a lot of time down there, and that's been a huge asset to my program. It's rougher and tar, and I'm definitely in shape and was ready for it. And, you know, I don't practice starts very often, but I think about it in my head a lot. Man, a second Ricky flinched, I went, and actually I got in front of Chris, and I think my bike spun out, and I was fishtailing, and it wasn't pretty, but we drag raced in the first corner. I pushed Richardson wide and was able to get into the woods first. And, man, from there I just went full sprint. I've really been practicing my sprint speed again. That's been a struggle for me, and it felt good.
And he even had time to get over and congratulate McClure on a solid run for second. Like I said, he always has respect for the other riders. Well-earned drink of water for McClure. And by the way, he's not a Yamaha rider, but the Yamaha folks hooking him up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, pretty tough conditions out there, mainly dealing with the dust. Heat really wasn't an issue, but track got really tore up a lot of roots. It was kind of sketchy first lap when you couldn't see where you were going. I was third off the start behind Cole and Walker there, and, it was a struggle to stay with those guys. Had a couple sketchy calls, like clipped a tree, but, I was able to get around Cole in and, try to push and get Walker, but, God, it was tough.
Yeah, look at how tough this is. I mean, every bump has gone from rounded to square. Square edge is just jarring, and Bryson Neal trying to cross over those ruts. That was a risky business. Now into the Monster Mile for the last time. Neal going to try to bring it home. I don't care how tough or how in shape you are, you got to be looking forward to the checkered flag in this one. Especially again in the ATV, these sandy type conditions just kills the lower back. And Neal had to work for it today, through the pack for a hard-earned podium and third place. Let's talk to him.
Sum it all up, I'm happy. This track was gnarly. The forest in there was the burnt forest, and that section, the stumps were just pulling the bars out of our hands. I clipped a tree on the first lap and knocked my toe end out of place, and my bike was pulling to the right, and I hardly couldn't turn to the left. And on the tight corners, and I saw Cole Richardson, he smoked the tree. McGill, he smoked the tree. I saw Borge was out. I was like, man, this track is dropping people left and right. I just got to keep this thing going and make it to the finish line. And we got good points. Bike handled good. Shout out Brock Booth. Motor ran good. Pat Kidwell, and everything is just cooking along, man. We're third place. We're happy. We're satisfied. Keep our head down and come back stronger next round.
Yeah, always a smile when you end the day on the podium. Here's our AMSOIL race recap. Fowler just edging into the lead here to get the whole shot and some Weisco money, but more importantly, he was able to stay out of the dust. Richardson right there. McClure and McGill all giving chase. What started out as a pretty wide open and sandy looking track definitely got tight and technical down in the woods. Here's Walker Fowler demonstrating A+ line selection in GNCC racing and pulling away just a bit from Richardson, who had pressure from McClure, McGill, and Bryson Neal on the charge. Look at Neal taking the tough line through the mud. There was just no stopping Fowler on this day. So strong, so in shape, just dancing its Yamaha across the top of those bumps. Richardson was running well, but only for one lap. Then he was out of the race. That pushed McClure to the number 2 position. And he rode very well, not quick enough to catch Fowler, but enough to get away from everyone else. Eventually, Bryson Neal was able to get to the number 3 spot ahead of McGill. And shout out 4th overall for the XC1 rookie, Devin Feehan. Best run of his early pro career. But it was one of the best runs ever for Fowler, and that's saying a lot. It's the man who's won this title the last couple of years in this championship, but to win from end to end in a 2-hour cross-country race is no easy feat. But he made it look that way today. So with a little bit of hope that the rest of the field got after upending Walker Fowler at our last race in North Carolina, it's over today. Rocky Mountain ATV MC results show him taking the win. Feehan 4th, as you mentioned. Hunter Hart was 5th overall while winning XC2 Pro-Am. There he is in the center of the podium. John Glauda and Drew Landers joining him on the box. And in XC1, all the accolades and the bullet going to Walker Fowler. McClure on the left, Neal on the right. Champagne showers for everyone. Thanks for joining us for Racer TV from Society Hill, South Carolina. See you next week.